The saddest days are met. The saddest days are met.
The Little Big Man, Mickey Duff. I've been writing this book. I wouldn't say writing it, I'd say more researching it. Because obviously I didn't know him, so I had to find the people who did know him. Like the Lee Duffy books, like the Paul Sykes books, I had to kind of walk into the story and meet the characters and basically draw a picture of those who did know him. For this book, The Little Big Man, I originally only had planned to interview 30 people. I spoke to people for this book I had no right to talk to. Serious names in the boxing world. 3 World Hall of Famers. A couple of Americans, the big cheeses over there. And a couple of people that, you know, normally when I write books, you approach people and you say, you know, Joe Blogs, and people haven't got time, or they don't want to help you out, or they didn't like him. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, that there has been people like that with Mickey Duff. More later stages, I think I'd interviewed something like 30 people before someone basically said, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, to put it politely. There's been a few more like that, but basically what I mean is I've spoken to some people I just never expected. You know, Jim Rosenthal, everyone knows who Jim Rosenthal is if you've been watching any kind of sport from probably the last 45 years. It was around about 83, 84. I'm not just talking football and boxing, you know, Grand Prix. And as I said, everyone knows Jim Rosenthal. Ian Darke was another one from Sky Sports. Another guy, Steve Holdsworth, who's, in my opinion, the voice of Eurosport. And then, of course, the fighters as well. Your Jim Watts, your Barry McGuigans, your Billy Swears, your Duke McKenzie's, your Robin Reeds, Nick Manners, Denzel Brown. So basically, I'm going to aim for 50, and that is it. You know, the average book in this genre is 70 to 80,000 words, and I'm 88,000 words in. So this book's going to end up well over 100,000 words. You know, this basically is going to be as thick as the Bible. It really is. It's a labour of love, and to be quite honest, I don't really want it to end. You know, kind of when you study a book subject, you kind of get drawn to them, or you feel close to them if you want. And I mean, I certainly do. I did 3 books on Lee Duffy. Now, I never met him. I did 3 books on Paul Sykes. Of course, I did the two Duffy documentaries. My aim for this, after this book, is to do a Mickey Duff documentary. That's going to be my 4th documentary, which I've already spoken to an award-winning filmmaker. He just basically said to me, look, get the book out first. I know what the book will do. And it's basically the good, the bad, the ugly, and the damn right. Outrageously hilarious. Of course, he was a very funny man, the king of one-liners. And you know, I mean, after this book, I'll go on to Brian Clough, who Colin Hart, the boxing writer, said to me. He said Mickey Duff was what Mickey Duff was to British boxing what Brian Clough was to English football, and every bit as controversial. So, you know, another huge character. But you know, when you kind of you study these characters and you see how much of an aura they must have had, and you know, Mickey Duff, you know, ended up in the Hall of Fame. You know, not London Hall of Fame or Essex, or World Hall of Fame in Minnesota. And you know, he just started off really as an immigrant, growing up in Whitechapel, wasn't the world's best boxer. To quote Mickey Duff, I was a kind of a jab and move guy, but sometimes I'd forget the jab. Always found humour, and he knew. To quote him, he said, I would have never have booked myself. He knew he wasn't going to set the world on fire in the boxing industry. And as a boxer, he started off as a featherweight. I think he ended up as a welterweight. But I'm telling you, as the end of his days, and I mean, he would have been, 95 now. He ended up, in my head, as a heavyweight. I mean, everyone in London, I would say a British boxer, knows the name of Mickey Duff. It's a place of London has 1,800 pubs, or it did do back in Mickey Duff's time, and a lot of them pubs would have spoken his name. Of course, it's very multicultural, and there's every religion, every race. You're Bangladesh, of course, Jewish, you're Irish, you're Polish, and but he's kind of written his name in folklore. Hence the reason why he was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame, and not the average Joes get that. So I'm quite comfortable to say he achieved greatness. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it, and unfortunately, it's going to have to end. But I'm literally going to have to speak with maybe 4 or 5 people, and I could write several books, to be honest. I could probably actually. I mean, it is that big that someone said maybe you might do 2 books out of this, but no, I haven't did it for financial gain. I've did it purely as a labour of love. And when I've met these famous boxers and world champions, British champions, European champions, British Commonwealth, referees, timekeepers, promoters, cornermen, boxing anoraks, I'm just captivated, just hang on every word, and it's been quite a journey. So I will be in London next week. I will do quite a few videos, Mickey Duff based. I'm going to spend a day in the East End, a day in Camden, and a day in the West End. So I will kind of get of course, Mickey Duff's office, Harry Levine's office, which was, I dare say maybe Mickey Duff kind of was using him a bit as a mentor. And then, of course, the guy who was before him, who was Jack Solomons, who was, maybe, I think it's fair to say Mickey Duff did to Jack Solomons what Frank Warren did to him. And it's going on. And, these days, I think Frank Warren's in his 70s, isn't he? You've got Eddie Hearn, you've got Ben Shalom. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And it'll go on forever. Do you know what I mean? But boxing is a young man's game. And Duff did say that in his book, actually. But, yeah, the little big man, I'm going to go to 50, and I will have to end it. There's no more. So the book you read at some point in 2025 will be 50 people's memoirs, experiences, anger, love of a guy who was a total one-off, totally unique, and I wish I could find people to write about like him all the time. And I don't know, maybe one day, I don't know, there's people out there who could do a far better book than me. I'm just going around, I didn't know him, I'm doing the research. Maybe his son would write one day. I don't know. But yeah, I certainly, one thing I will say, and I don't mind saying this publicly, is obviously Mickey's been gone now 10.5 years, is it? Yeah, 10.5 years, March. What we're in now, October. Over 10.5 years. And what my aim to do is put the name Monic Prager, aka Mickey Duff, back in the public spotlight. And I would love to see a film. I would love to see documentaries. As I said, my aim is to do one, start maybe getting the ball rolling next year. Maybe even a film, because I just think there'll never be another Mickey Duff like what Duke McKenzie said to me. There'll never be another boxing man like Mickey Duff again. You know, this guy did it all. 123 amateur fights, 69 professional fights. Obviously, he was a cornerman, he was a manager, he was a promoter, he knew the game inside out. Do you know what I mean? His knowledge was just absolutely frightening. But yeah, the Little Big Man, that is an absolute must. You know, of course, I'm not biased, but honestly, listen, if you like boxing half as much as me, you want to read these serious boxing faces, people's opinions on who was the real Monica Prager.
The sunniest days are made.